Manchester United are starting to act like a serious club. Mbumo, Bryan Mbeumo, boom, boom, boom. Mbumo's in the room. When I say this, the next bid is now revealed. It's quite obvious, and I'm going to tell you why it's revealed and why the price is where it's at. Now, if you don't know, Mbumo had a bid placed in for him by Manchester United last night. Pretty much 55 million in total, 45 million with 10 million in add-ons. Swiftly rejected. But it's a good starting point. Now, if you haven't seen, in some quotes from Fabrizio saying that Brentford want in the region of 70 million, but don't panic. And why I say that is because Manchester United are going to place a starting offer around 55 million in total, whereas to start negotiations, according to Fabrizio, 70 million, then they can kind of talk in the regions. Now, of course, Brentford are going to play hardball. Of course, Brentford are going to want a lot for their talisman. But then, if the quotes from before, stated by Ornstein, Jacobs, and Fabrizio himself, or maybe many other journalists that have been following this news quite closely, is they want something similar in and around of Matheus Cunha. Now, it makes me wonder, because Ben Jacobs, who's been following this a little bit more closely than I would say the likes of Fabrizio and David Ornstein, because he got to the news first, from what I remember. So I'm going to follow what he says a little bit more. Obviously, Ornstein's king of these transfer windows. I would say Fabrizio's been rather a little bit slow, but he's still rather credible. You're not going to knock that. Is that apparently Brentford want 50 million guaranteed, and then the add-ons come after that. Now, it makes me wonder, cool, United plays down a 45 million bid. Price revealed, all there, done, on the table. And then the negotiations to start, they want to see something towards 70 million. Now, if you kind of meet in the middle, if one wants to start at 50 million, they want around 70, which obviously then they're going to accept way less, then the price tag is quite simple. 60 million should be enough to get over the line, and should be and shall be enough to acquire Bryan Mbumo's services for this summer. He is immense. What a talent. Goal scorer. He's got a good whip on him as well. If you don't know what whip means, it means a cross. So we don't have that, and we need that. Very pacey as well, and he's got a lot to his locker than more than meets the eye. People will say, rivals will say, he's been overperforming his XG. Don't get too gassed or too giddy. I would say, hold that one. But we're all excited by Mbumo's arrival, and hopefully it gets sorted out by the end of the week. We saw the way how quick and swift Manchester United were with Matheus Cunha. We wanted to amortize it over 5 installments, but in the end, it became 3 installments for the release clause. Now, when you want to break down the Mbumo stuff, when you want to follow the story, if you want to in and around the Matheus Cunha wage, false news. Even reported or over-reporting on Matheus Cunha's wage of being 200k. Even today, pretty much got revealed that he's literally on something just north of 175k per week. Now, I wouldn't wonder about how much he's getting, because this whole 250k is literally journalists. I think is a little bit of scaremongering going on over there, but there could be truth to it. Who knows, right? Now, if you want to be respected in the world of football, of course, with Brentford, they're going to want something similar for, a player that's put up similar numbers literally this season. Someone that's got, a team that's 20 goals, a bag of assists. Was it 8 assists in total, if I'm correct? Nearly reaching 30 goals and assists. You can't really argue with the 62.5 million that's wanted in and around. Man United needs to just pay up the money. Now, I think we will see something of 50 million plus 10 as the next bid. But the 10 million has to be structured where it's definitely achievable, where Brentford are going to collect their money. And United have, what I like is Jason Wilcox has now gone up to director of football. I think he's kind of proven himself with a lot of these deals and how quick and swift that we have been moving. And you know what? You probably have to credit in and around the team that has been working on. Maybe Matt Hargreaves is another one that's in the camp, and also who else? Maybe names we just don't know about, in Manchester United. We love to know who's doing what these days and absolutely policing what's right and who's wrong. So kudos to all of that and good luck. But Mbumo is so vital. And even now, I'm still wondering and having dreams, having visions about being in the East stand, the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, Sir Bobby Charlton stand, and the best stand in the world, the Stretford end, and seeing these two playing at Old Trafford for whatever remainder years and how much success they may bring, who knows? And that's not where it's going to end, but I can just see, I can just see me singing their names and just having the absolute, time of my life just because of what we have recently seen. Garnacho, not good enough for this club. Many problems, many issues off the field, and just pretty much temperament, issues as well towards the manager, or maybe even with his own as well. If you know, you know. I don't really want to get into that. It's just not really my place to say online. But even beyond that, going from Rashford's, which is one of our own as well. Going from seeing Mason Mount's number 7, doesn't deserve it. Sorry, but need to move on. And then obviously Joshua Zirkzee, fan favourite, and pretty much Kobe Mainu, one for the future. Going from all of that and not scoring enough goals to acquiring Premier League proven quality for pretty much the total of near enough around 120 odd million, it's a no-brainer for two of the best in the league in their positions. I'm very excited to see how Amram plays this one out, because there's also other rumours, but just on the whole Mbumo, the story so far is, I don't believe anyone saw this coming, especially as quickly as it did. And I'm still gobsmacked. I just done pretty much a live video and I was absolutely ecstatic. Of course, I'm a very emotional person, so when it comes to reactions, I get a little bit giddy. But Mbeumo's amazing. What he's done for Brentford in the last few years since getting promoted. Hold with the jokes because we're not getting relegated. Since he's been in the league since which season would it have been? Was it 22, 23? With Ivan Toney, still getting more than 10 GA in his first Premier League season. I'm pretty sure he reached 9 goals and 7 assists. Then the following season of no Ivan Toney, we getting someone that's reaching 9 goals and 6 assists. A little bit more of a struggle season for Brentford, you would say. And then, of course, this year is the Hobbs and Shaws. What did it say? The Hobbs and Shaw brothers, or I don't know how. That quote. And then now he's reaching along the lines of what altogether something like 28 goals and assists. That's mental. And even if you want to average out something in between 15 and 28, you're still going to get quite a good return. See, I do believe Mbumo can definitely reach similar numbers, and I'm very ecstatic because he's at that age, coming into the prime years of his footballing career. He's having that move. Everything just seems to be shifting correct at Manchester United at the moment on the transfer side of things, and on the field, you're just improving just like that and adding more, or wanting to add more in terms of the striker. Who knows what heights he can be or achieve, sorry. As well as Cunha as well. Can there be even a partnership between them? Very eager, 60 million pounds. I don't think even if it was 65 million, I don't think you'll have many Manchester United fans arguing with that. We have a 125 million budget. And I know that Brentford would know that. And that would pretty much be the end of that as well, because 65 million would reach the 125 mark before we have to make any sales. So it's definitely very achievable. I just believe, if United are going to go about their business, you go and really get that fee as much down as possible, save a few quid, and maybe use it onto the next transfer, whoever that may be, because there's a big name that's been touted recently for striker. I don't think anyone's heard of him. He's Swedish, plays in Portugal, and he's got a celebration that goes like this. So who knows what happens there? Number 1 target. What kind of strike force can we find with Mbeumo and Cunha? See, I don't know which one I'm more excited about, but the Mbeumo one for me was the nail in the coffin. 2 weeks ago, I think every single Manchester United fan were in the mud, down and out, disgrace from what we've been witnessing over the course of the season, to now find ourselves with a strike force and Bruno Fernandes attained it once again. I'm very optimistic, I must say. One game a week as well. I smell a trophy. But Mbumo, yeah, very excited. We're going to keep up with the news as well. Going to be live at midday UK time, about 12:30. So watch out for that one, people. Smash the likes. Can we need to start getting some like targets out here. My like target for this video, if I can receive 100 likes, then I'm a very happy man. Anything beyond that, I'm even more happy. So please, people, make sure we have that going on. Subscribe if you're new. I'm going to be doing new videos as well in terms of, striker targets or alternatives, and even some more central midfielders that have come to mind. Thanks to you guys who have been suggesting quite a lot. Profiles are everything. So on that notice, big up, on to the next one. And yeah, Mbumo. We need to find some very catchy phrases for that man's name. Love.